Hey everybody, it's your girl Sade, and I'm the Black Parent Teacher. I'm here today to do an introductory video for you of my why. Many people are saying, hey, you got this channel called Black Parents Teach. Why did you create it? And so I'm here just to give you a little bit of information about myself so you can get to know me, as well as for you to understand where this project stemmed from and what the passion looks like for me. So, uh, just to give you a little bit of my background, I have been an educator for about 20 years now. Right? Yes, I'm young. Yes, I look good. Right? This melanin don't crack, honey. But I've been an educator ever since I was a child. It started way back in the day when I was a 10th grader in high school, and I went to a really good magnet school in Baltimore City where it was a STEM high school. And so they had a project, it's called the Baltimore Algebra Project, and they were hiring high school students who attended magnet schools to tutor middle school students. All right. And so that's when I got my first break as an educator. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I have an opportunity to make some extra cash. I have an opportunity to really give back to the community in a way that makes sense. And for me to like put my teenage energy to some good use, right? And so I absolutely loved it. Because I'm a natural born leader. I'm an oldest child. I'm an oldest sibling. Shout out to the oldest siblings out there. I'm the only girl, right? I have three brothers that I grew up in the house with, and so I was absolutely loving, being able to tutor and work with the middle school students and teach them math. Okay. And so that's where it really all stemmed for me, where it all began for me as an educator. I worked with the Baltimore Algebra Projects for a couple of years. And when I went to college during the summertime, I then transitioned over into my experience where I started to work in out of school time programming. Right. I did a couple of years with Higher Achievement Baltimore. And then I did 2 years with Elevate Baltimore, where I served as a achievement coach, as a tutor, and then later as a research assistant. My experience as an educator continued to grow. I went away to college in Virginia, and so I picked up a work study position as a tutor at the Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind, where I tutored blind students in math. Then from there, I came back home. I worked at Higher Achievement again once I graduated, and then I moved up to Philadelphia. When I moved to Philadelphia, I applied to be a public school teacher there, and where I began my career as a kindergarten teacher. And let me tell you guys something. I absolutely loved teaching kindergarten. It was funny because in the beginning, I was scared to teach kindergarten because when I did after school time programming, I worked with middle school students. I worked with fifth through eighth graders. And so they were like, okay, like the position that we have is for kindergarten. I was like, kindergarten? What? And so I'm like, all right, let me jump into this. Let me see how this goes. And guys, it had to be one of the best things that happened to me as a teacher. I absolutely love teaching kindergarten because it takes a certain type of person to be able to take a 5-year-old who has never been in school before and like make them into this person who is ready to learn, who is ready to take charge of their education, right? And ready to grow. So I loved it. I did my first 2 years as a kindergarten teacher at KIPP Charter Schools, and then I transitioned over to the public school district where I taught kindergarten for 2 more years before I moved up to fourth grade. Fourth grade was fun. It was amazing. It had its challenges. I taught fourth grade during COVID, but hands down, my favorite grade is kindergarten. After I left the classroom with fourth grade, I went into coaching. I moved up and I became a teacher coach. So I coached second and third grade teachers across all areas. And I also became the math lead for the school. And so that was a really fun opportunity for me to be able to get into many classrooms, for me to see many things, many different types of teaching styles, many different theories of practice in practice. And so that was an amazing experience for me. I moved back to Baltimore. And so now I work as a tutor, right? I have a few clients that I tutor every week, and so those students range from K to 5. Okay, and so that's what I currently do. Um, Let me rewind to where Black Parents Teach was birthed. Black Parents Teach became a thing for me back when I taught kindergarten. Oh, because I already told you guys, I absolutely love teaching kindergarten. Um, when I taught kindergarten, I saw that there were many different types of kids coming into kindergarten. You had a group of kids who came in from preschool, right? They already had some experience counting and writing, and they knew how to spell their name. They knew how to write their name. They could name the letters. They could name the sounds of the letters. They could they had a lot of abilities, right? And then I had a group of students who came from daycare. These students knew all the nursery rhymes. They could sing. They were very verbal. They could help you with circle time and do all those things. They had really good playing skills and things like that. And then I had my students who may have been home, who were at home, right? They may have been at home with mom, with grandmom, with auntie, or a cousin or something like that. They had some skills, right? They knew their name. They knew how to spell their name. They could, make their way around a room. But they may not have necessarily had the schooling skills as some of the daycare or preschool students. And so where I began to kind of see, I was like, okay, cool. Like, we got students of varying abilities coming in. All right, that's fine. Where it became something for me to like hone in on, and like what I started to think about is I was like, man, some of my students don't necessarily have certain behaviors that show that they're ready for school, right? And what I mean by that is, I have students who may not know how to hold a book, may not know the difference between the front of a book and the back of a book. They may not know that, like, if I'm holding a book, the top of the book has the title at the top, and the bottom of the page has the author, right? They may not know that the book is supposed to be, that I open it from right to left, like that. I have some students who didn't know how to hold a pencil, right? Who didn't know how to spell their name, right? I even had students who thought that their name was their nickname, okay? And I had some students who didn't know how to sit for about 5 minutes to listen to a book being read to them. And so all of these things became a little worrisome for me because regardless if a student came in from preschool or daycare or came in, from being homeschooled, like these are skills, right? That should be happening, that students should be exhibiting. And I'm not talking about, the students who are just like, who may be just refusing to like follow an instruction. No, I mean students who are literally like, I'm like, wow, this baby has never been read to before. Wow, like this baby may not be tucked in at night. Wow, this baby, nobody, may not have the opportunity to sit with this child and like teach them how to write their name or teach them how to spell their name, or even addresses them as their given name. And so Black Parents Teach came from a place within myself to be able to give the Black community more of an advantage for our kids to enter into grade school ready, just a little bit more ready, right? Um, we all know a lot of the statistics out there. We know that they're building prisons according to reading skills by third grade. We also know that no matter what class you're in, whether you're poor, middle class, upper middle class, rich, that as a Black person, we are just also like just there's a gap for us because the opportunities aren't there because of our skin color, because of what we look like, right? We know that systemic oppression is a thing. We know that racism is a thing. We know that school to prison pipeline is a thing, right? And so, and we also know that like infant mortality rates is a thing. We know that injustices in hospitals and in pediatrics is a thing. The way that I was raised just a little bit old school, right? Um, I know I look young, right? And I am young, but I was raised a bit old school. In my household, it didn't matter. It's like, all right, bet. Like, okay, it's injustice outside. Okay, you got to fight that. That means you got to work harder. You got to run faster. That means that it's a sprint for you, not a jog, right? And I'm not saying that that's okay. And I'm not saying that is right. But until, we kind of iron out the injustices that are happening outside, we're responsible for what's happening inside of our homes. And to be able to provide a loving and safe home for ourselves and for our children to be able to thrive, right? And so Black Parents Teach came from a place of me saying, you know what? Like, it's not okay that my Black parents don't know to tuck their kids in at night, don't know to read to them every night, don't know to expose their child to certain things. It's not okay that our Black parents like are struggling and surviving and they don't see how education is a part of their survival for their child, right? Um it's not okay. And so for me, Black Parents Teach came from a place where I'm just like, man, I'm taking this back for my community. I'm taking this back for my community. I I would like for children everywhere to be able to have a space at home for learning and for growth because education doesn't just happen in school. It happens at home as well, right? I have been that teacher who have tried and tried and tried and fought and fought and fought to 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 teach a child something who was living in a home that was going against exactly what I was teaching their kid. It has to happen on both sides, right? And so Black Parents Teach is an opportunity for the working class Black parent to say, hey, let me figure out one little nugget, one little thing that I can do to help create a learning environment at home that is safe, that is effective, and that really helps my child in school. But also doesn't make me feel like I'm extending my workday because it's hard out here for a Black parent and for a Black child. And so, welcome to my channel. I'm Sade. I'm the Black Parent Teacher. And let's fight this thing together. Let's grow together. Let's close this opportunity gap together. One family, one community, one parent, one child at a time.